So I was recording and then I realized I should be filming while I'm recording. Might as well make some videos showing me make some music in different ways, which I think is a good thing. So I started with Omnisphere here and I'm going to pick up and I'll show you just kind of where I went from. So this is the Mac version of Koala. So I like it primarily because of this. You can put the input, well, I like Koala, but this is the reason why I would choose the Mac version because I can set the input and output. And I've shown this in another video. You can go check those videos out. I use Loopback. I have an instrument channel that allows me to run instruments in standalone. Some of them work in standalone, like Analog Lab, Omnisphere, the Spectrasonic stuff, that kind of stuff. So when I need to use that, I can use kind of in a modular way, use the desktop, which is what I'm doing. So I'm recording in, and I just record literally to a track, so I don't even have a tempo. Well, at least I didn't start with a tempo. And then I did a time stretch of 16 on this, just kind of messing around, playing whatever. But the cool thing is when you have the Novation launch key, you have the scale lock. So you don't really need no extra something on the computer. Like you don't need scaler or anything like that. It's pretty much a substitute for a scaler. And it allows you to scale lock everything for yourself there. Pretty cool. So I've kept it in scale. What scale was I in actually? Lydian. So I'll leave it on scale just for right now. But then with the Novation launch key, you also have the pads, which means that so I can use that. Now, if I press play, it plays with Logic. I mean not Logic. With the Novation launch key, it will play, and if I hit stop, it'll stop. So those stop and play work. The only one that for right now doesn't work is the record button and the and none of the other MIDI capture and none of that. Let me see if metronome works. Nope, metronome doesn't work. Quantize? Nope. No. All right, so the other ones don't work. I don't MIDI map anything. I'm just going straight into it. But the play stop does work, which is nice when you just want to hit your play. I need to get the record to work in it. Let me see if I can. Let's just try that while we're on camera. Setting, MIDI. I think it's under. No, cancel that. Oh, we're running on channel 10. Why not do all the channels? Maybe that's. No, no, that still doesn't work. Okay, I was just seeing I'm running on channel 10. I didn't know why. Um, all right, so where was I? We're going into MIDI map. Use map, MIDI mapping. Okay, so here we go. MIDI map. You click here. Now you can actually, it's weird because it's like play is already mapped. Let's see if we can map this record. Okay, let's just map it to play. So weird that that just works. All right, let's go done and see if the record now. Interesting. Okay, so check this out. Play and stop already work, but to do the with the launch key, this is just going straight in, and I'm not changing a bunch of settings because I don't want to have to do this again. But if you hold it down, if you release it, it's not going to record. If you hold it down, apparently, hold on. Okay, it does trigger it, but for some reason it doesn't. You don't hear the count in. So if I 2, 3, if I hold it down, I get the cycle through where I get my count in. Okay, interesting. And that could be something maybe that could be fixed. I'm not going to do it. I'm not really that worried about it. I'm just showing you a modular workflow for those that don't want to use a desktop. But the desktop can be very much a useful source, and you can go modular on the desktop. I would love to see someday AUM come to desktop. because it would give you kind of a program to be more modular, which the only way currently, I guess, is that I know of at least, is using something like loopback where you can actually record through here. Um, but anyway, yeah, that would be kind of cool to have. But for now, this is fine. Like Koala works fine on the Mac. So you have access to your drums. Hold on. Had access to. Oh, because I know why. Because the drums. Hold on, let me go back to 0. So the drums on here on this keyboard are set to channel MIDI channel 10. So if you want to use, let's see, where was it? If you turn off the MIDI mappings and just use their mappings, so you have access to your drums again. So you don't have to set it to channel 10. You just you got to turn the MIDI mapping off, which I think in turn means you lose the, oh no, the record still works. Weird. Okay. So the record is still working. And see, that's the thing. You don't see the record lit up like when you press it. I think it stays lit up if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So for some reason, it doesn't stay lit up when you press it, but whatever. You can see that it works. So that's the key. So glad I wasn't on my phone there because these old spam calls coming through. Okay, back to the video. Sorry. So you can see how quickly I can put together something. So then let's say, okay, well, you want a different sound. So maybe you want to use Omnisphere. So I mean, not Omnisphere. Oh, by the way, if you have Trilian, Omnisphere, and Keyscape, and I always forget this. I don't know why I mess up and forget this. I'm going to just do this real quick. All right. You can access all the libraries through Omnisphere, which is so cool. And most of the bass instruments that I like are right here. So I go electric muted. I tend to use the Pertusi, but that don't even sound right. Anyway, this muted jazz bass right here. I'm gonna shut up. All right. So you can start recording in, which is cool because if you want keys, bass, and you want like your synth, pretty much if you get the package of the trilogy of Omnisphere, Keyscape, and Trilian, you have all of that. It's like a full keyboard with 40,000. Well, when you get 3, you'll have 40,000 sounds. It's crazy. Plus, you can buy more packs from people that make their own, and you can make your own if you want. All right. So the only problem with going all is you see when you get low on the keyboard register, it's going to pick up the sounds that are here. So to prevent this from happening, you have to go, let's see, how do you do this? Turn off, go to the settings, and we're going to change the MIDI channel to 10. Yeah, maybe that's why I had it on 10. So I'm just using 10 because that puts everything in Koala, the actual pads, at least, well, the pads at least, on just in the Novation launch key. It maps it to just the pads, which is actually great because now I know it's mapped to the pads. That means my keys are free to play the bass. All right, and then if the bass is loud, down here below I keep this clip running. So you see my voice coming through right now. That's just the bass by itself. So it will record both. But the good thing is you can kind of see how loud the bass notes are. So maybe if you need to dial them back a hair, because it can get pretty loud. So I'm going to come back about 2 dB, maybe even 3 dB. There we go. That's a little less adjustment you have to do in Koala if you do it that way. So for practice purposes, okay, so I'm fine with that just because it just came out that way. But here's the thing I would love to see added to Koala. I mean, this would be the icing on the cake for me. And that is pretty much audio capture. Um, or because everything's pretty much audio, and they're not going to put MIDI capture. I don't see, well, maybe they could, but I don't see what the purpose of it would be, I guess. Maybe they would put that. Anyway, audio capture, MIDI capture, all of those captures. I like to see them in Koala because sometimes I just play something and that's what I'm used to at Ableton, right? I just play and if it sounds good, I roll with it. I don't want to strategically figure out what I do and then go do it. I just want to play because sometimes my best takes, my best moments are when I'm just playing and not really trying to be strategic at something. So that part I would love to see. Probably will never get it, but I mean, it's just a thought. So the key is if I hit record here, I got to make sure it's not recording my voice. And it's not because I have it set up on an instrument. The only thing coming in is the instrument. It's not my voice. It's not tied to it. So that's a good thing, right? So I have to start the sequence over here. The beauty is when you have this keyboard, I don't have to go between these pages. I can just hit play and then start. So what I need to do is set up a pad, press it on, hit play. And you'll notice I always play. Let me stop this. Let me hit stop. I always play to the next note. So you can, if you look here, hold on, let me crop this first part out. It helps to keep you from messing up something. So now we know that's the start of the note. But this note right over here is the end. So on desktop, you use 2 fingers on your trackpad and you just slide your 2 fingers up and it actually gets you close there. So that's good enough. And we'll just go crop. And the beauty is if you throw this in a sequencer, for the amount of steps that you want, even if you messed up at the end and had an extra note, then you resample that, it will chop that in off. Does that make sense? So if I go in here and I know that I played for 16 bars, so I'm going to set this, oops, 16 bars, okay? So all I have to do is just put this in, drag it out all the way 16, which I think that is, and then keep it on here. Don't add anything to it and go resample loop. And you'll see, probably messed up. It did, messed up. It resampled the loop, but this must be a desktop thing or something where it resampled the loop but didn't do it 16 like it normally would. So on iOS, it works well. Maybe desktop needs a little help there or something. I don't know what's going on with that. But it'll resample the loop for the length of it. And if you have trouble on desktop, if you're using the desktop version, then the best way to do it is always play another note, play the first note of the next note, if that makes sense. All right, so now you know you have a 16. You can add that to the mix. There it is. So now you press play and it should play, and it's not. Or at least I'm not hearing it. Okay, it's showing it playing. Let me go. Say we'll just call it YT Jam, YouTube Jam. We'll save it to the computer. Cool. Sometimes it may have had a moment, you know, like other. Wait, that's the wrong one. Sorry, because I have the iOS version. Okay, so there we go. Now it's back. I think it just had a moment, to be honest. So you could keep it this small if that's what you want to do, or you can definitely stretch it out to be a little more. I'm gonna make it a little bit more. There we go. That's how I like to see it. All right, cool. And then again, if you want to do that, let's see if it works because it might have just had a moment. Now I already shaved it off, but you'll see here if you go into here and go resample loop, it's still messing up. So it's just something wrong with it. We'll leave it alone. Maybe it's not 16. Maybe that's the problem. Hold on a second. I didn't even think about to stretch it. Oh, that's only 8 bars. I'm tripping. Is it 8? I'm looking at the ways. Maybe I played it longer than 8. Oh boy. All right, so let's try that. Let's go back in here. I thought I played for 16. But if you want it for 16, what you can do is go there and then add another one in. And then resample that. Let's see if that works. I think it did. Yep. So it resampled it. Should be in time. Hit stretch. Boom. It should be on. All right. So it was just me. That was a user error. My bad. So this is actually 8 bars, which we'll just put the stretch on it just so we know. And we will go in here and set it up for 8. Now, I like to do this snap just to make sure it did snap and then hit repeat. Then you know it's going to line it up itself so you don't have to deal with the. All right. Can we get a play now? No. Man, the Mac version is having a moment. Yeah, I'm not even hearing no audio. Hold on a second. Let me check the settings, see if something got adjusted. It's the right settings. Let me go down here. Exterior out. Here. Yeah. All right. Well, we have. Are we still recording? I think we are. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure. It's like, well, are we recording or was? Because it's literally not playing anything. Although I can hear it playing there, so I know it's playing. Yeah, so I'm not sure why we're running into this hiccup. Did I change something that I shouldn't have? Let's check. Change that back to all. Nope. There's something else wrong. Well, I'm sorry about that. I can't control what it's going to do live, and I'm not editing videos, as you know. I don't do it. Wait, am I on the wrong one? Yeah, I'm not sure, guys, why it's doing that. All right, I'll have to mention that to maybe. Now it's working. Yeah, it's definitely having moments because that was weird. Yeah, there we go. Just making sure everything's there. All right, so it had a moment. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if it's because I extended out because let's do that again just to see this right here. I don't want to. Yeah, it just had a moment. Okay, here we go. And it's sounding a little off. It's probably off, if I'm being honest. I think I jumped in a little late on my timing, and then I picked up somewhere and maybe got on time, but you get the drift of it, of how to do it. Just go back in and re-record it. The fact that you can press play on it and play your timing is fine. So there we go. So that one should be better. I think I played for 16 on this one. Let's go ahead and crop at the beginning. And again, same principle, that last note, zoom in. You want to tighten it as much as you can on there and then just go ahead and crop. So now you should have 16, which there it is. And it should be on time. I think the previous one I just didn't record on time. That's fine. So we'll go back into the sequence. We'll get rid of that and we'll just extend this out 16. I find that to be the easiest way. Um, Play as much as you can. I say that and I continue to preach that the more you play, the better you're going to get at playing. And then on top of that, your music sounds less repetitive, especially if you're going to be doing loops, working within loops. You want your loops to sound less repetitive. Play a little bit more. Play 16, play 32 if you can, but at least do 16, 8 at the minimum. I know people think about 4. The problem with 4 is unless you change up every 4, like they're multiples of 4, like let's say you go in, if you're going to do 4, maybe you play it for 4, but then you play another one of the same thing for 4. So that way you get some variation in the way it's played. Um, Everything like that matters. Even the drums, right? The intricate part of going in and having sometimes where something doesn't hit or it does hit, little dropout moments can add to the spice of the song and make it so less repetitive. That bass could be better, but now that's the only caveat when you playing with like a with Koala. There's no MIDI, right? I mean, the MIDI is the trigger for the sample. But if you're playing a long sample like that, you're not going to have MIDI. The drums, you should be able to do that too. But when you're playing chords and things like that, you're not going to have the ability to adjust MIDI notes or change the velocities of them. And that's why I tend to work in the DAW. Though I don't do a lot of changing, I'll be honest, I just play. I find that if I need to fix one note, because there's some note that's just like, oh, that's a little bothersome, but the rest of the recording is really nice, then I'll just fix the one note. Meaning I'll just delete it, but um I won't go back. If I need to do the whole thing or if it's too many mistakes in there, I'm not about to sit there and edit that. I'm just gonna replay it till I get it right. And that's how you get stronger at your playing when you're playing music, right? And any artist that will tell you practice, right? You need to practice. And that's what we're doing. Even with recording, I'm practicing a lot, just getting myself to where I'm just comfortable playing it. Same thing with drumming. I'm not a drummer, but when I'm doing a basic beat like that or something simple, I would prefer to sit there and play it out 16 and do it either together if you can, or if you can't do it together, at least place the snares in and then come back and play the ghost kicks or something. Place the first kick on the first bar, one on the second, put your snare on the 2 and 4, and then play the ghost over the top. In other words, if there's a right, that little extra kick that comes in there, it's a little delayed, play that. Because then what happens is, or if you can just play the kick and the snare together, right? That'll help you, and then come back and play that separate. Either way, it's going to record to its own little destination right here. See? So the ideal here is to get stronger at making your music sound not only more human, but also um, less repetitive. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. All right, so this is some real basic stuff. I've shown these in other videos. I wanted to show it on desktop, how if you have the right setup here without a DAW, you could technically do it kind of like a modular workflow. And if you got the Omnisphere, Trilian keyscape thing, you got pretty much a whole library of 40,000 sounds. You can literally do everything from Omnisphere. And it's got your bass, it's got everything, and then just record into wherever you're going to record into. And even if you got like an MPC, if you want better sounds, highly suggest get Omnisphere. Get Omnisphere, Trilian, Keyscape. You'll have the best package of a complete sound. They work together. As you see here, you can use all of the Omnisphere Spectrasonic stuff, or even user directories that you can buy. And what this does for you is gives you a complete workstation that has the extra tools. If you're sampling, they ain't no really big deal. This don't mean nothing, because sampling, you don't need this. You're just collecting sounds, chopping stuff. You're doing your own type of workflow. But if you're trying to actually use good sounds, to me, it's hard to beat Omnisphere, Trilian, and Keyscape as a collective. Then when you need guitars, you got to go ample sound. If you're not gonna play a real guitar, you need to go ample sound. That's the only ones that I've heard that sound close to a real guitar. That's not a real guitar. I mean, of course they sample real guitars, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of my thought process on making music when it comes to this. If you don't have a Novation launch key, to me, this is the best MIDI controller for a budget price that you can get. I mean, even if you get the cheapest one, the little mini, the keys aren't as good on it, but everything else is. And it's definitely portable. I think the 37 is the sweet spot if you just need something portable and small, but still give you the full keys. And then I think the 49 and 61 are the best when it comes to if you want all the faders and just the whole thing, whole package. But the 37, if you don't need the faders, the 37 is a nice choice to have. And just being able to do all this really quickly and play into Koala like this, you can create some cool songs. So you could have some sample tracks going and do the same thing. Use your keyboard to trigger all the sounds, right? So it's a great source of a great workflow, I should say. Anyway, that's it for this video. Just wanted to show you the modular part. I'll see you on the next one.